All right, everybody, we are live, and we are going to talk some MMA, UFC, Bellator, a little boxing. But first, Chevy, tell people what's coming up on future episodes.
All right, October 14th, UFC Fight Night, Youssef versus Barbosa. Interesting striking matchup. And then October 21st, we're back to pay-per-views with UFC 294, Makhachev versus Oliveira 2. That was on my list of top 5 fights I'm most excited about for the rest of the year. And then rounding out the end of the month, October 28th, we're going to be talking about the big heavyweights, Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou, pay-per-view on ESPN+. There's no UFC that weekend.
All right. So some big fights. So why don't we talk about Francis Ngannou and specifically Tyson Fury?
Yeah, so Tyson just booked a fight versus Usyk. Obviously, that is the fight for boxing that everyone needs to see. Biggest questions for sure. But it is 2 months after the Francis Ngannou fight. So it looks like Fury is incredibly confident about his ability to get through unscathed.
Well, I mean, he should be, for starters. I mean, but I also kind of tend to think this is also head games, for like Ngannou. Like, say, okay, I'm going to show him I'm so overconfident, and I am, but I'm also going to do the training and whatever because I'm a professional and I'm not going to, get caught. I think this works, to his advantage. And oh, by the way, if he happens to get cut up for some reason, they're going to postpone the fight. There's no doubt about it. So I don't think Fury, it's nothing to postpone a fight in boxing. Yeah. So I think this is confidence, but also some head games on Francis.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to affect Francis too much. I think he's pretty mentally strong if you think about all the things he's gone through in his life with, his emigrating from Cameroon to France and failing 6 times before he finally got in, and his struggles with Stipe in the beginning, the first fight, and then overcoming all this garbage with these negotiations with the UFC and everything. Very mentally strong person. I don't think it's really going to get to him. I think Francis knows exactly what he needs to do in this fight, and he's prepared to go out and do it. Whether he can do what he needs to do remains to be seen, but
yeah, I think it'd be awesome if he could shock the world. If ever there was a guy I'd like to see shock the world, it'd be Francis Ngannou. But if ever there was a stylistic matchup that I thought was just so tough going into it, it'd be a heavyweight that hits hard like Fury, that has such an experience in boxing over Francis and moves around at the speed that he moves at.
Yeah. They did announce that nobody knows one other fighter that's going to be on this card, but they are all going to be heavyweights on the card. So, lots of possible finishes. So that's good to look forward to. But we'll go over all that at the end of the month. We'll have a whole show on that. So let's move on to UFC this weekend. We're back with a very good fight night. UFC Dawson versus Green, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're just going to talk about a couple of the fights on the undercard. We won't go over them, but some good matchmaking from the UFC here. Alexander Hernandez versus Bill Algeo. Great matchup. Philipe Lins versus Ian Cutelaba. That'll be an exciting face-off at the beginning because Cutelaba's crazy. Drew Dober versus Ricky Glenn. Dober's a minus 440. There's some pretty heavy favorites on this card. And then Alex Morono versus Joaquin Buckley. That's a very interesting matchup. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah. Those are some good stylistic fights we're going to see. Interesting. We'll see. Yeah,
the Alexander Hernandez and Bill Algeo one. That one's possible fight of the night. But let's move on to the co-main event. Joe Pyfer versus Abdul Razak Alhassan.
All right. Abdul, 12-5, 12 knockouts. Performance of the night 3 times. This is a guy that likes to get you out of there. Joe Pyfer, however, on the other hand, Look up here, Joe. Where's my Joey? There he is. He's 11-2, 8 KOs. So he likes to put the finishing touches on you. 2 subs, 1 decision. Joe is 2-0 in the UFC. What I think is very interesting about Joe, though, is he's a guy that since getting to the UFC already, he's just looking like somebody who's taking his career very seriously. I think there's stories about him, getting help from Dana White too, right? Because he had some financial troubles, and now he's able to really focus on his career, and he's looking really sharp in his first couple outings. So I got to go with Joe here. He looks like a little bit more of the complete fighter than me. Certainly he could get caught, but I'm going to go with Joe Pyfer. I'm going to go. I bet you he continues to streak because I bet stylistically these guys are going to get right at each other. And I'm saying round 1, he's going to maybe find a way to get his back and maybe choke him out.
Yeah, Joe's a heavy favorite, minus 455. He's undefeated and has 100% finish rate by strikes in the UFC, like you were saying. Abdul is 6-5 in the UFC, but all of his wins are by KO, like you were saying. I think Joe's the big favorite because his striking is much slicker. Mm-hmm. His punches are straighter, which means they'll get there faster. Slicker, more polished. His chin is untested, though. So this is a very dangerous fight for him because Abdul has lots of power. But I think Pfeiffer's the truth. And I'm with you. I say he gets a round 1 KO.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll find out. Round 1 KO. I was thinking, like I said, I think he'll end up getting his back or something and knock him down and get a submission out of him. But either way, it's round 1. That's what I think, stylistically. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the main event. Number 10, Grant Dawson versus Bobby Green. Bobby Green trying to break into the top 10.
He is. Bobby Green is 30-14, 1-1. He's got 10 KOs, 9 subs, 11 decisions. He's got submission of the night 1 time, performance of the night twice, fight of the night 4 times. He's got the most significant strikes in UFC lightweight division history. All right. He's got most total strikes landed in UFC lightweight division history. So Bobby's a very slick striker. He did just submit Tony Ferguson, but I think a lot of us feel that's the decline of Tony a little bit. Bobby's always been kind of an up and down fighter, though. Win a couple, then lose a couple. Grant Dawson, not that way. 21-1, 4 KOs, 13 subs, 3 decisions, 8-0-1 in the UFC. This guy's been quietly putting a little streak together here. Performance of the night twice. So what I see here is Dawson been rolling along quietly, but he, despite being in the top 10, I don't think has fought to the level of competition of a Bobby Green. So this will be a really good test for both of them. For Bobby to see that, hey, can I crack that top 10? And for Dawson, like, hey, you're going to get somewhat of a little bit of a name here who's coming off that win over Tony. I think Dawson's up for the test. I love Bobby, but this is usually the type of fight he'll lose. Usually he's going to win those exciting fights, and when it comes time to make or break situation where you want to move up, Bobby doesn't usually come through. I say that with a heavy heart. I want Bobby Green to win these. He's fun. He's a fun fighter. He's a great character. But I say smart money is on Dawson by decision.
Yeah, Grant is a heavy favorite as well, minus 445. With his grappling, I understand. Bobby's one of the best counter punchers in the UFC, though. So when Grant's coming at him, Bobby's going to land on him. He's also very good at mixing up his cadence. So it's very hard to time his strikes when you're trying to go in on him. His takedown defense is also phenomenal. It's near 75% takedown defense. I think that Islam knocked him down a few pegs with that, but he's up there near 75%. He's also very hard to hit because he's throwing so many punches at you. So if he can, stuff enough takedowns, I think he'll land on Grant. I'm a big fan of both of these guys, by the way. Yeah. But I'm feeling the upset here. So I think Bobby has the tools to catch him coming in. And when he catches him, he can finish him. He's a great finisher. He has momentum currently as well with that Tony Ferguson win. I'll go with Bobby, round 3 TKO.
Round 3, okay. Very good. All right, I'm excited. I'm excited for this main event. So we also got Bellator 300 this week, right?
Yeah, we're not going to go over everything. We'll just talk about, Bellator's coming to an end here one way or another. I believe the PFL's back in. We're trying to buy them again or something. I'm not sure what the final is on that, but we are nearing the end of seeing Bellator as a promotion. Unfortunately, it's nice to see some competition for the UFC outside of like one championship. So, a lot of good title fights on this, though. You were saying before we got on, the Ryan Bader one fell off, unfortunately, due to an injury, but we saw 3 title fights on here. So, Liz Carmouche versus Alamale McFarlane for the flyweight belt. You got any thoughts on how you see that one going?
Yeah, it's a rematch, I believe. Carmouche won the title for McFarlane. Where is this card being held?
Let's see. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Take a look here.
San Diego.
San Diego, not quite Hawaii.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
That's as close as you're gonna get.
Yeah, just looking this up here with McFarlane right now. Her mixed martial arts record. She lost the title to Juliana Velasquez, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And then by decision, I think a lot of that people thought she won, and she lost another decision. She's won 2 in a row, and now she's fighting Carmouche. So Carmouche is a veteran. I got to say Liz Carmouche is going to get this done.
Yeah, I'm going to go with McFarlane just because I know Liz has been doing great lately over in Bellator with whatever testing they have going on. But she's 39 years old. So I think that this is just a very tough test for her. I think that McFarlane can stand up to Liz's grappling. So I think I'm going to go with McFarlane. Probably decision, though.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to the featherweight women's title. Very excited for this fight for sure. Cyborg versus Cat Zingano.
Hey, conventional logic is I should pick Cyborg here. She's a killer. She, other than getting caught by Amanda Nunes, in a fight that she caught Amanda too. It's like no one's really been able to put Cyborg in trouble. Cat Zingano, of course, has a win over Amanda Nunes, as we know in her career, and Cat Zingano is very durable. I want Cat to win this pretty bad, actually. I really would love this for Cat. I've always liked her. I have a hard time betting against Cyborg, though, so I'll go with Cyborg. I say this goes for a little bit, round 3.
Yeah. I wish this fight had happened a while ago. Cat's 41, I think, and Cyborg's 38. Yeah, 38. So I wish this happened a while ago. And with their fighting styles, they say power's the last thing to go. Athleticism would be the first thing, and Cat really needs the athleticism to, negate Cyborg's power and everything. So I'm with you. I like both women, but I'm definitely more of a Cat fan, but I see Cyborg winning this one. Unfortunately, probably by TKO, but I can see Zingano surviving and just kind of getting beat up for 3 rounds. But I'll say round 2 TKO for Cyborg. All right. New main event, lightweight men's belt, Usman Nurmagomedov versus Brent Primus.
Yeah, Nurmagomedov has never lost a fight. So I don't know if that's going to change. So I'll go with
a pit bull. He beat a pit bull in Bellator. So
yeah. So let me look at that fight too. Just out of curiosity, his last one was Benson Henderson. Pitbull was one of the 3 decisions. He's got a lot of finishes here. 8 knockouts, 6 submissions. I'm going to go with Nurmagomedov, third round submission over Primus.
Yeah. I think that I'm going to go with second round KO. I think their wrestling will kind of go up against one another, and I'll end on the striking difference. So I'm going to go with Usman versus KO round 2.
Either way, we're going with Usman all day.
Yeah.
So, Bellator 300 looks like a fun show, though. I am particularly excited about that co-main event with Sagana and Cyborg. As much as I think we favor Cyborg because it is happening at this point in their careers, it is kind of a compelling, interesting to fight.
Neither girl's in their prime, so it's really who's declined more,
Yeah, and it can be exciting because they both still want to win, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I wish I had Showtime. I won't be watching it, but maybe we'll figure something out.
You might.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk what we got coming up one more time.
All right. October 14th, UFC Fight Night, Yusuf versus Barbosa. And October 21st, UFC 294, Makhachev versus Oliveira 2. And then at the end of the month, October 28th, Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou on ESPN Plus pay-per-view.
All right, guys. Should be a fun month of October. Thanks for tuning